Hey my lovelies, welcome back to Beyond the Tweezers. This episode is sponsored by Elibana. In today's episode is all about creating your own opportunities and not waiting around for someone to spot you, choose you, or hand your dream on a plate. Because for the longest time, I used to wait. I remember when I was entering competitions all the time, I'd won quite a few. I was finally proud of my work and I was posting my achievements, and deep down I was hoping that one day someone would actually notice me and give me an opportunity. I had this dream of being on the other side of competitions, being a judge instead of a competitor, but honestly at the time it really felt impossible. It felt like it was something that only really happened to other people. And then I got a message from a brand new online lash competition who reached out and asked me if I'd like to become a judge. I was literally over the moon. I generally couldn't believe it. I remember thinking, finally, someone's noticed me. I was finally getting that dream that I really wanted, and they were giving me what I wanted. But after that competition, something shifted. I didn't just want to judge one competition. I wanted more. I wanted to judge bigger competitions. I wanted my name out there. I wanted to grow. And if you remember from my conversation with Carolina in the last episode, I admitted that I was obsessed and addicted with growth. And to be honest, I always have been. It was only when I was speaking to a friend in the industry last year about my goals, this is when this conversation changed everything for me. Why am I waiting for someone to ask me when I could just be asking them? Because if you don't ask, you don't get. What's the worst thing that could happen? They could say no, or they just might not reply. What do you actually have to lose? So that's exactly what I did. I went through Instagram, reached out to all these competitions I wanted to judge for, like the big ones, the established ones, and what I did is I told them all about my achievements, my experiences, my mission in the industry. Some did reply, but they said that their judging panel was full, which was completely fine. Some left my message on read, and at first, I won't lie, I thought, oh my God, that is literally so embarrassing. But then I did stop myself and I thought, actually, no, I've put myself out there. I've made myself visible, and sometimes it's not about being needed in that moment. It's about planting that seed. So that year I did judge a few competitions, but not the big established ones I'd originally reached out to. And then about a year later, one of the competitions that had actually left me on red messaged me, and they offered me a place on their judging panel and they were going to pay me for it. And the thing is, what's really important here is I just didn't stop there. So I can tell that you're absolutely loving this episode. But we're just going to take a minute to hear from our sponsor, Elibana.
Lash lifting and lamination have exploded worldwide because of the instant results. Lift volume and length using a client's own natural lashes. I'm Otto Mitter, lash lift innovator and cosmetic chemist at Elibana. For over 2 decades, I've trained thousands of artists and helped bring lamination to center stage. And today, Elibana is trusted by professionals in 63 countries and counting. Across those markets, the pattern is clear. Artists struggle at some point, even with leading brands. That's rarely a product issue. Education is the key to consistent results. At Elibana, every batch is produced under strict Australian GMP standards and supported by certificates of analysis, clinical efficacy testing, and documented case study evidence. If you're struggling with consistency, you don't need another product. You need the right education and support. Join the Elibana community and see the difference.
So last year, I did exactly the same thing. One of my biggest goals was to judge live competitions. So what I did is I reached out to a live competition that I would have absolutely have loved to have been a part of. They did get back to me, but unfortunately they were no longer running that competition. But they did say to me, if they ever do bring it back again, that they remember me. And that's the thing, that right there is the power of putting yourself out there. So I do want to relate this to something I know so many of you do struggle with, and that is getting more regular clients, because this exact mindset does apply. If you're sitting there waiting for more clients to just magically come walking through that door, you might be waiting a very, very long time. You need to start thinking of where your dream client is going to be. Where are they hanging out? Are they in local cafes? Are they in gyms? Are they mums doing the school drop-offs? Are they older clients? Do they attend workshops like bridge or arts and crafts? Think about the local activities. If you want a certain type of client, you need to go out and find them. It could be your local hairdresser. You could leave your card in the nail shops, collaborate with nail salons. Could you partner with a gym, a clinic, or even a local business? Clients don't just fall into your lap, and just like opportunities, a lot of the time they just don't come knocking on your door. You have to knock first and take action. You have to put yourself in rooms, places, and conversations where your dream client already is. Not only this, but when you get those clients, you do want to keep them regularly. So you also need to be thinking about, what are you doing in your service to make them feel good? Think about the comfort, the music, the bed, your surroundings, your energy. A lot of artists can get bookings, but not a lot of them can make their clients stay for years and years. Like, I've still got clients who have been with me for 8 years, and it's all about the experience you create for them. What makes you stand out? What makes you different? What makes them not want to go to anyone else? If this is something you do want to dive into a little bit more, I do have a customer service webinar available on my website, but what I can do is put this in the description and you can have a look at that after. It's all about how to keep your clients returning with the service you're providing. So I know some of you are probably thinking, Caris, I only have like 500, 1,000 followers. I'm not good enough yet. Brands and clients don't want me. This is not true. Brands watch you, clients watch you, people watch you. So this actually reminds me of something that happened to me last year. I was speaking on stage at my very first conference in London. It was a Romanian conference, so I had my lovely friend Irina, who is Romanian, translate next to me what the host was saying as she was introducing me. And the translator, Irina, leaned over to me and she said, she's been watching and following Caris for a while now. And I remember sitting there thinking, huh? I had absolutely no idea the host had been watching me. No idea that she'd been following my journey. No idea she had been paying attention to what I was doing in the industry. And that's exactly why she asked me to speak at her conference. She'd been watching my work. She'd been watching and seeing what I was doing around the lash retention. She already knew why I was going to be the right fit long before I even stepped on that stage. And that just proves it. You never know who's watching you. You never know who's quietly observing your growth. You never know who's taking notes. So when you feel like no one's noticing me, I'm not good enough yet, or what is the point of all this? I don't feel like I'm progressing. Trust me, someone is watching you. Even when you don't see the results straight away. It's like I heard a story once about someone doing YouTube videos and they only got around 10 views. They felt seriously disheartened and they thought, what is even the point of this? But it turns out one of them 10 views was Oprah Winfrey. She was watching, and eventually that led to their huge break in the industry. Not the lash industry, but you know what I mean. So if you're thinking about reaching into a competition, speaking on stage, anything, reach out. People love to see the drive, people love to see the hunger, and people like to see someone who's brave enough to put themselves out there. Like I said before, not every opportunity is going to come knocking on your door. Sometimes you just have to knock first. You need to make your own opportunities, make your own destiny. You are literally the creator of your own story, and you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So if you have enjoyed this episode, please do me a huge favour, follow, subscribe, or literally press whatever button is in front of you. It really does help this podcast grow. And I just want to say thank you so much for pressing play, and I see you next week for the guest episode.